Hello everyone, I'm Jessie the Sleepy Koala and welcome back. Today I would like to do the 1001 book tag, which was created by Sandy at Miss Reads a Lot and is based on her list of 1001 things to read before you die. I wasn't tagged by anyone in particular, I've just seen a lot of people doing this. It looks like a lot of fun, so I wanted to have a go as well. I do want to tag some people. I realize that I constantly forget to tag people in these videos when I do them, but I would like to tag Cat from Cat's Book Corner, Chandler Aisley, G Swizzle, and Yashana to do this tag. I've also decided that I think I'm gonna go away with my little graphics that I do for tag videos. They're just a lot of work to put in to try and create and then download and add them in. So I think I'm just gonna read the questions instead and might just like put it as text on the screen, but we'll see how it goes. Question number 1, 1001 lists. Do you follow any book lists? No, I do not. I am not yet at the stage that I'm participating in a lot of the lists or challenges that go around just because I have so many books already that I want to read. I am very much a mood reader, so I want to pick up and read what's around me and base it off what I feel like at the time, which makes it really hard to do things like challenges and lists because they are so based on particular books and I don't know if I'm going to want to read that. So currently I don't do any lists or follow any lists. In the future I might, who knows? I'll just have to see how I go. 1001 books. How many physical books do you own? How many ebooks? How many audiobooks? I'm adding that last one because I counted it up before I realized it said ebooks. Okay, so physical books. I have got roughly 480 physical books, of which 101 are on the shelves behind me. And because I am such a Sanderson fan, I went through and counted all my Sanderson books as well, and I have got 127 out of my 480 books are Sanderson books. That is not an insubstantial amount of Sanderson books that I own, but I'm not surprised. Between me and my husband, we do buy a lot of Sanderson's books. In terms of ebooks and audiobooks, I don't really read ebooks, so I don't actually know if I own any ebooks. I might, I'm just not sure. I know at one point I owned some of Sanderson's ebooks, but I think something happened with my account when I switched from... Oh yeah. So this is a side story. When you switch countries, Apple basically screws you over in every way and you lose pretty much anything that was on your account. That included everything in my iTunes and I think what was in my Apple books as well, because I know I had at least Mistborn as ebooks and they're not there anymore, but I lost my entire iTunes library that I had been cultivating since I was 15. And I was very, very salty about it, and it included the playlist of songs that I wanted to have for my wedding. I've luckily been able to recreate that playlist, but to say that I was salty would be an understatement. But to move on from that, I also counted the number of audiobooks I have. I currently have 38 audiobooks. I don't do audiobooks very often. I find it very hard to concentrate. I've mentioned it so many times, but I am trying, and this is the number of ones I have. A lot of them are the free things that you can download through Audible, and a lot of them are more the audio series instead of like books. And those are fun. I have liked those. 1001 books read. Approximately how many books have you read in your lifetime? And do you keep track? No, I don't keep track at all. So I have absolutely no idea how many books I have read in my lifetime. I've started keeping track. As of 2021, I have started keeping track of how many books I've read. At least by the time that I have recorded this video, I think I've read 59 books this year, so I guess we're gonna start at 59 and we're just gonna go up from there. But I was a heavy reader my entire life, so I know I've read quite a few books, but I have no way of even guessing how many books I have read in my lifetime. 1001 Arabian Nights. Have you read Arabian Nights? What's your favorite story? Or if you haven't, do you plan to read it? I have not read Arabian Nights. I would not be against reading it. I don't have any current plans to read it, mostly because I have a lot of other things to read, but it's also not quite what I normally read, so I'm not against reading it. It's not something that jumps out to me as something that I need to read straight away, instead of just letting it happen eventually in my life. 1001 Flavours. Do you have a favorite 1001 Flavours. Do you have a favorite food or flavor? I have a diminished sense of smell which means that I have a diminished sense of taste. So this means that I cover pretty much everything savory in salt. Just so much salt. I definitely oversalt my food, but it gives me a flavor in the food that I can definitely taste because like the other flavors are less noticeable to me. I do really like things that have really sharp flavors to them that are really prominent and obvious. So things like tomatoes and like when you make tomato pasta and tomato sauce, or things like lemons or limes. Also things like chili. Chili is a little bit different because I like chili. It just doesn't fall into the same I want to cover my meals in it type category. But I do very much like chili as well. But things that are really strong like that, things that are really gonna give you a bit of a punch when you eat them. Those are the things that I really, really like, but salt in particular is the one that I reach for all the time. 1001 pages. Is there a book that is over 1,000 pages that you have read, and would you recommend it? What is the longest book that you have read? So, in case I haven't mentioned recently, I'm a Brandon Sanderson fan, and he writes very big books. Specifically, these ones here. Not this one. This is Cassandra Clare. But these ones here and here. All of these books, the Stormlight Archive, are over 1,000 pages each. They are tomes. They are the biggest tomes I have read. These are by far the biggest books I've read. I'm pretty sure the fourth one, Rhythm of War, is the biggest one. Oh, and this is 1230. I stand corrected. It is not the fourth one that is the biggest. It is the third one at 1242 pages to the 1230 in the fourth one. I would highly recommend these books, but they are very hard to get into if you are not used to something that big. I actually have the Gulliancy UK editions, which are these ones up here, and they split them into two. So it makes it a lot easier. It makes it a lot easier for these to read these because they're two books that are roughly a normal book size. So you can kind of treat it as you're reading two books instead of reading this giant tome of a book. And I know that really helped me because this series is very big and it has a very big learning curve to it. It is fantastic. It is a wonderful series. I highly recommend it if you're happy to get past that learning curve and read something huge. It's incredible. It's such a good series, but it is very big. And these are great. I love these. These are really great. These are really helpful to try and cut it down into a bit more of bite-sized pieces. 1001 buckets. Do you have a non-book bucket list? Not currently. There's a lot of stuff I want to do, like ever since moving to America. Like I'd love to go exploring and love to go on vacation places. I actually have a degree in American studies because I am fascinated with this country, and it is part of the reason that I was really interested in moving here. So I would love to explore this country and see more of it, see the really big touristy things, or like go wandering in an unknown city to find the little cafes and the little haunts that you wouldn't find if you're on the well-walked path. I would love to do that so much here. Like the cities that jump out to me seem like all the really big ones. Like I'd love to go to New York. I'd love to experience that. Chicago, New Orleans. I've been to Portland and I really liked it. As of this recording, I haven't yet been, but will be going to Seattle. This might come out after that trip though. My husband and I are going to be driving home for Christmas, which is 12 hours, which I can't say I'm looking forward to, but I'm going to see so much of the country on that 12-hour trip as well. And I am kind of excited for that. It's going to be really, really interesting. I guess my long ramblings is I don't have a bucket list, but I kind of do have an informal one in my head of things I would love to just see in the country that I am currently in. 1001 numbers. Do you have a favorite number and what's the story? I do have a favorite number. My favorite number is 5. Is there a story? No. I have no idea why my favorite number is 5 or even when it started being my favorite number. I just know that 5 is my favorite number for reasons unknown. 1001 authors. Do you have a favorite author or genre? Favorite author is Brandon Sanderson, followed closely by Cassandra Clare, actually. I really like Cassandra Clare's works as well, just to try and, bring in another author so I'm not talking about the same one the entire time. Cassandra Clare was my favorite author for a very, very long time until I started reading Sanderson, and she is still a very close second. I love the Shadowhunter books so much, and I look forward to the new ones every single time that they're coming out, and will definitely still reread everything in anticipation and then read the book as soon as I can. So I really love Cassandra Clare's works as well. So that's my second favorite author. My favorite genre is fantasy. It's definitely always kind of been fantasy. I do tend towards YA fantasy instead of adult fantasy, but I am looking to get more into adult fantasy. I've just always enjoyed what I found in YA, so I thought, what's the point in leaving if this is what I like? I am trying to branch out more with my genres. I'm looking at romance at the moment. It's not going the best so far. I haven't had the greatest introduction to romance. On one hand, I've got one very good romance book, and on the other hand, I have another one which I'm not sure how much I like. It's just created a bit of a mixed introduction, but I'm trying to get there. But I love fantasy. I love fantastical worlds that are different to mine, or even going into my world as part of urban fantasy, where we've got the fantastical world and creatures as well, but in our everyday modern setting. There's just something about it that I love. I don't generally want stories that are similar to real life, because I can just live real life and I can read the paper and hear about real life. What I want to hear about is goblins and the fae, and I want to hear about people with magic powers doing cool things. Those are the things that I want to escape into a book for. Like, it's very much escapism for me. It's meant to be that thing that I do to relax, not that thing that is just more of the same as everyday life. So I love fantasy. Absolutely love it. I also really like sci-fi, but I don't read as much sci-fi, and I am looking to get more into sci-fi. Again, it's kind of like finding time to read things because there's so much stuff, so you really have to pick and choose, and it's so easy for me to just gravitate towards fantasy and towards YA in particular, because I just love them so much. 1001 activities. Do you have a favorite outdoor activity? I wouldn't say I have a favorite outdoor activity, but I do very much enjoy walking and just exploring places. So if I don't know a place, I would love to walk it, find things along it, whether it be scenery, if I'm out near nature, and find cool looking trees and shrubs, which I've totally done on some of the trails near my new house. Or if I'm in a more urban place, just walking random streets to see what I find and see what little gems are hidden away that you wouldn't necessarily see if you rushed past. Sydney was fantastic for this because there was so many little back streets that had things in them. You would find cafes, you would find clubs, you would find pubs and cocktail bars and whiskey bars that were all like burrowed under buildings or like up high, and the only way you could get to it is this tiny door that's in the middle of just a random alleyway going off the main street. And finding those things was so much fun. So I love just exploring places when I have the time, because you never know what you're going to find. And the final question, because I have already tagged people, is a question for Sandy, whether she should create 1001 book club and read along. And the answer is definitely. Of course you should. That's such a good idea. I'm not sure if I'll be able to participate, mostly because what I was saying earlier about lists and how many other books I need to read first. But I think that's a great idea. You should totally go for it, girl. That's such a good idea. Definitely do that. And thus, that brings the end of this tag video. I hope you had fun. This was lots of fun for me. I've seen it around quite a bit recently, so wanted to give it a go. I'm not quite sure if this will go out before or after New Year's, so we will just have to see. If not, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, depending on the time that this goes out. And thank you for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell to get more videos from me, and I will see you next time. Bye!